I watched from the corner of the room, glass in hand, while Dad raised his champagne toward him. My stepbrother, the golden boy. He's the son I always hoped for, Dad said, voice dripping with pride. My gift, a $5 mug with a smug little note, be grateful. I didn't speak. I didn't complain. I just smiled, the kind of smile that doesn't reach your eyes, and planned my exit. That night, I walked out of the penthouse, walked out of my father's company, walked out of the life I built for him. It took a month for the business to crumble without my guidance. And then, suddenly, the world turned to me, scrambling for help, for answers, for salvation. But this wasn't mercy. This was satisfaction. I remember the early days with him, my stepbrother. When he first moved in, I tried to bridge the gap, to be the older sibling he never asked for. I shared everything, my office, my contacts, my strategies. I celebrated his little victories, watched him fumble through meetings I trained him for. He smiled back, but it never reached his eyes. That's the first clue I should have noticed. The signs came slowly. A missed call here, a deleted email there. Decisions made without consulting me. Deals quietly rerouted to him. And the first time I caught him bragging to Dad about an initiative I had conceived, I froze, heart hammering but face calm. That's when I understood. Betrayal isn't always explosive. Sometimes it's subtle, almost polite. I didn't react. I never react. I plan. I watched, collected evidence, mapped every move he made, every misstep, every lie, every smile that masked greed. I kept my hands clean while he fumbled in the shadows, believing he was untouchable. I knew the collapse would be slow. That's the beauty of influence. One missing signature, one mismanaged contract, one diverted client, and the house of cards fell. I waited. Patience is a weapon, and I sharpened it. The first domino fell when the first client called me, desperate, begging. Then the partners, then Dad himself, though he never admitted it aloud. Every plea was a whisper of vindication. I stayed silent. I gave advice, but only when necessary, and always on my terms. Always reminded them, subtly, that I was the mind behind the machine. The plan wasn't just to watch him fail. It was to make him understand, in every bone of his body, what he'd lost. I didn't need to shout. I didn't need confrontation. I orchestrated a series of setbacks. Contracts vanished, key investors pulled out, long-term partners withdrew, all routes carefully traced back to his mismanagement. Meanwhile, I stayed in the background, the calm storm everyone ignored. The day I finally faced him, the room smelled faintly of coffee and regret. His sports car, the trophy of favoritism, gleamed in the sunlight, an empty symbol now. He looked at me, eyes darting, pride cracking. I don't understand, he stammered. How? Everything's gone. I let the silence stretch, savored it. You thought this was yours by default, I said softly. You thought charm and Dad's approval could replace skill, patience, and work. He swallowed hard, realizing the game had been played around him, not with him. I didn't need to finish the sentence. The realization hit harder than any words. His empire crumbled not because of me, but because he built it on sand, while I built the foundation. The people who once worshipped him turned to me, not out of fear, but because I was steady, intelligent, capable. As I walked out, I caught a glimpse of Dad. His expression was unreadable. Pride, regret, confusion, perhaps all three. I didn't turn. I didn't glance back. I had my revenge, yes, but more than that, I had my freedom, my dignity. I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. I just walked, knowing that the world finally saw me as I had always been. Indispensable, unshakable, unyielding. And for the first time in years, I felt something I hadn't allowed myself to feel. Quiet satisfaction. Not loud or messy, not desperate or needy. Just the calm knowledge that betrayal can be survived, manipulated, and finally, outplayed. He lost a fortune. He lost my father's praise. But most of all, he lost the illusion of superiority. And I walked away richer, not in wealth, but in proof that power, patience, and strategy always outlast privilege.